Hey guys, another one take review, and today I want to talk about the new Valeria Almeida album. Secrets is the debut full-length album from Brazilian experimental artist Valeria Almeida, who debuted earlier this year with a couple of singles here or there, like Let's Go and Won't Stop, both of which are featured on this album. However, more notably, is before all of this experimentalism that I'm about to talk about in a moment, Almeida was a Selena Gomez impersonator. Of all the people to impersonate, she was able to impersonate Selena Gomez physically, and that was her thing. She became famous, at least in Brazil, as far as I'm aware, for covering Selena Gomez songs. And this is not Selena Gomez covers, to be sure, or I mean, maybe they are somehow, but they don't sound like it. However, the main reason I actually checked this album out was because of Rate Your Music. Besides the fact that I use Rate Your Music for most of my musical discovery, because I mean the people are generally not great, but still, for music discovery, it's an amazing website. There's also the fact that on the 2022 album charts, this record debuted within the top 5 when it was first released with a average score of over 4. And as I speak right now, as I'm recording this, it is at barely a 2, and it looks like it's still going down, and it probably will hit maybe a little bit below a 2 by the end of the week. So it's pretty impressive. I mean, really, that's the first time I've seen a jump like that in terms of reaction, not only on Rate Your Music, but just any music geek kind of website similar. So yeah, it made me want to check out this album a lot. Now, as I stated before, this is very experimental, unexpectedly experimental, and very sound collage based in style. Secrets plays around with a lot of strange sounds and voices and voice samples that make the album feel very chaotic and just very directly strange, but all the same strangely endearing. It almost feels like one big prank or joke to hear comically pitchy singing done over a Selena Gomez esque instrumental on songs like the title track. I mean, seriously, to say that Secrets is a major satire would be the understatement of the century. I think this is an album that's going to fool a lot of people into thinking it's a very legitimate pop listening experience, and it is the antithesis of almost music itself. The usage of really poorly recorded spoken word pieces that feel like they come from more like a Instagram live session than they do a proper recording studio really just drive home that left field absurdist humor. This is all glued together by a very surreal plunderphonic sort of style, even though I hesitate to properly call it plunderphonics within the actual definition of the genre, just because it feels like a bit more straightforward than the term plunderphonics implies, but nonetheless, this is a very weird sound collage based listen. With that being said, there is an unsettling sense of normalcy throughout Secrets at times as well, which really just kind of throws everything off as you're listening to it. Now, as I previously stated, a lot of the instrumentals here, at least to some extent, would suit artists like Selena Gomez or similar acts like, say, Ariana Grande. Really, if you take away all the weird vocal samples and other chaotic kind of sounds that are looming in the background, and just look at the instrumentals in a straightforward manner, you'll get a pretty typical pop R&B kind of album. This mixed with all of that aforementioned experimentalism obviously makes for a very unbalanced listen. However, the album's self awareness and understanding of what it's doing actually takes that unbalance and reverses it into balance itself, because it almost makes it sort of aware and understanding of its own sense of humor. Even though it's obviously presented in a somewhat serious manner, as it has to be for the joke to work, it becomes very obvious that Secrets knows what it's doing in terms of sound and almost parody to some extent. This all makes for what might be one of the weirdest albums I've heard from Brazil in quite a while, which is definitely saying something considering Brazil is a very underrated country for experimentalism and has had a lot of very strange music coming out of it within the past decade and a half or so. Brevity is a major factor of Secrets as well, and both the album's curse and ultimate blessing. On one hand, this isn't the kind of album that the average normal listener will be able to take for more than the 11 and a half or so minutes that it presents itself as. However, I must be some sort of musical masochist because I actually want songs like Who Knows to or Won't Stop to be expanded upon in some sort of very strange manner. I don't know why or how to explain it. There's just something very off about the album that actually gives me a desire to want to hear more of it and how it would expand upon itself. I do unironically enjoy like Captain Beefheart and the Shags, so I mean, who knows about that whole musical masochist thing, but I digress. In my own personal opinion, Secrets as an album could warrant a tripling of its length as long as Almeida were willing to constantly bring new ideas to the table as she expanded upon the record's sound. Secrets certainly isn't for everyone. It's actually not for most people in my own eyes, but at the same time, for other listeners like me who have a appreciation at the very least of a sort of dadaist sense of humor within music, will probably be able to at least strangely enjoy this one. Overall, Secrets is a weirdly charming joke of an album. This obviously isn't Selena Gomez or any other form of generic pop music, and the sort of surrealist Dadaist humor that Valeria Almeida delivers here is very apparent and makes itself very obvious. You'll be disappointed if you go into this album wanting to hear Brazil's next big pop star, but if you go into Secrets looking for, I don't know, a extended musical skit from Tim and Eric Awesome Show Great Job, which is highly recommended for its own reasons, then you're probably going to like this. Maybe. I mean, who knows? I think that there's something to at least appreciate about the insanity and controlled insanity at that about it all, which is why I'm actually going to give it 3.5 stars out of 5. I'm not going to revisit this anytime soon, or at least I highly doubt it. Just the context of the record and its overall sounds aren't necessarily something to make you revisit it. But at the same time, I can absolutely appreciate what's being done here, and I think it was executed extremely well. So, 3.5 stars out of 5. And with that being said, that's the end of this review, and I'll see you guys in the next one.